All right, welcome back to the Be-Leaf-ers Podcast. Hey, this is episode 46. I'm your host, Mikey D. You're probably thinking, Mikey, why the fuck did it take so long to record a new episode? Well, I've brought 31 in on a fun fucking note. I have not partied this hard since like my early mid-20s. Fucking, I went from partying with new buddies and buddettes to partying with old family buddies and buddettes. I'm going to give a hockey hug and a shout out to Jordan and Chrissy for hosting our Devils buddy and I on an awesome weekend out in Peterborough. That was a fun fucking time. Even though that was like already 2 weeks ago or so, the time's a fucking blur. Honestly, we went through March, even though it's been a continuous party blur, felt like fucking 10 minutes. What the fuck? But the oh, and the party's not over. I'm partying as we speak. Literally right next to the laptop. I have a bottle of beer that I've powered halfway through. And next to that is an unopened bottle of beer because it's a fun for one party. The party just never ends, don't you know? 24/7. But the next party that I'm going to, at least, it's at the end of April. It's out in Scarborough. At the Warden Legion. Tickets are still available. You can contact Lindsay on Twitter or myself and I'll get to her. But that's going to be a fun fucking time. I can't wait. Let's fucking go. But now to get into some NHL hockey stuff. What has not been a fun fucking time is the big news of at least this episode. Fanatics is taking on a 10-year deal doing NHL jerseys. Now, I'm disappointed, but I'm open to it. I'm an eternal optimist. I always hope for the best. So I'm hoping that Fanatics puts out a much better jersey than what is currently out there. Because, quick, funny side note, a fun Twitter account to follow is, I think it's at Fanatics Suck. They just quote tweet fans with their mismanaged Fanatics jerseys, and it's like the wrong color, the wrong logo. The last one I recall seeing was a yellow and black NHL jersey, and the Bruins main logo is the jersey's main logo, and then on the shoulder it was the Pittsburgh Penguins logo on the shoulder. Like, what the fuck's going on there? And even I have one Fanatics jersey in my collection. I have mainly Adidas jerseys, a couple of Reebok jerseys, because when I started collecting, Reebok had the contract, and I have one Fanatics jersey because friggin' I got it from Winners. It was on sale for like $70 or $80, and it's an away jersey. Matthews on the back. I'm like, yo, it's got a name. Let's go. But it's definitely, unless Fanatics can put out a much better jersey when the time comes, I can tell you right now that I'm going to be saving a lot of money over the next fucking decade if what they currently have is what will be put out. But yeah, that's definitely a bummer. So now, because it's been at least less than 10 games since the last episode. So, since the last episode, the Leafs won 5-2 against Carolina. They were in the St. Pat's jerseys. I can't wait to see how Fanatics fucks that up. Sat Pats. And it'll be blue and yellow, probably. Sammy coming out of the game with a .941 save percentage. Yarncroke getting 2 apples. Zach Aston Reese seeing him heat up with 2 goals. And then in the following game, winning in the shootout 5-4. Murray facing against his former team, getting a .923 save percentage. And then even though they won it in the shootout, for all the haters, even though it doesn't count, it still counts. Kerfoot with the game-winning goal, shootout game-winning goal, lulls right there. And then in the following game, the only brain fart loss in this quick recap is they lost 7-2 to the Islanders. That was definitely a caffeine crash because they were in it until they weren't in it, and that was just an oomph. But what was nice to see was they weren't shut out, which I don't think has happened this season. And if it has, I definitely can't recall it at the moment. And then Marner continuing his fucking point streak, goal streak there. We'll get in his 27th goal. That was a nice goal, too. And then in the following game, just running Florida's show 6-2. Matthews getting 2 goals. Murray getting another 9.943 save percentage. And then in the following game, continuing his goal streak to 35 and 36 on the season. Matthews with 2 in one game, though losing to Carolina 5-3. Murray getting a .852. That was a bummer. Out shooting the shit out of them too, 44-28. And then in the following game, winning 3-2 to Nashville, which honestly, leading up to the end of that game, it got tight. Like, yo, this kind of feels playoffy here. And JT having himself a game in that one, getting his 150th career goal. And then also for the haters, Kerfoot getting a nice fucking, that was a nice fucking shot and a nice fucking goal. And even though it was a fucking save, that's got to be save of the year candidate right there. Marner passing it to Yarncroke. I actually thought that went in, and I sacrificed my voice. I went, yeah, let's go, but it didn't go in. Yeah, and then in the most recent game, I got to watch with Alaska, my little baby girl, who's right in front of me. Don't worry, you're gonna go out after this is finished. Okay, I gotta make this quick. The last game, they lost 3-2 in overtime to Florida, so Florida gets their revenge. God damn it. This was Sammy, his first game back in net, getting a .897 save percentage. He looked, despite the loss, he looked fucking brilliant, and I'm happy to see him back. And the photos he's putting up of like him sleeping, holding his newborn baby in one arm and then his puppy on the other, like that's just so fucking wholesome. And then even Matthews continuing his goal streak, getting his 37th of the year, and Marner with his 67th assist, 67, because that number is fucking tied to the city. Such a goddamn curse. Now, to get into the one of two topics I have for this episode is 11-7 versus 12-6, which is better. Now, 12-6 is 12 forwards, 6 defense, and it's definitely, the Leafs look a lot more comfortable when they have 12-6, but they have found ways to win with 11-7, at least in more so of the first few games that I had listed here. I didn't write down which one was. I'm a silly goose. I didn't write, but more so of these games had 11-7 than 12-6. But they're finding, despite the few losses, there's only like 2 or 3 losses anyway. Like, yeah, it's not bad. Come on, guys. They're finding ways to win, whether the roster is built 11-7 or 12-6. So I'm a bit more open to seeing Keefe play around with that. And even I'm not gonna bat an eye about the fucking roster until game 1, round 1, which is gonna leads right into the second topic of this episode, is what should be the roster come game 1. I've seen a lot of people as of lately put Yarncroke on the first line. Now, yes, that top line does look fucking lit. I will agree with you there. But my first line for round 1, game 1 looks like Mikey B, Michael Bunting, Austin Matthews, William Nylander. That's your first line. I am open to seeing Yarncroke on the first line with Matthews. like for a couple shifts here and there. You know that works. Roll with it. But for game one, round one, I'm first line, Bunty, Matthews, Nylander. And then on the second line, Yarncroke, JT, and Magical Mitch Marner. You brought JT here to play with Marner, and that's, you know what, for these games, I want to see the magic between Marner and JT. Let's fucking go. And Yarncroke, he's looked awesome this season, especially, I feel he's looked awesome, especially on the second line. I mean, as of lately on the first line, yeah. But on the second line with JT and Marner, let's go. And then the third line, Kerfoot, O'Reilly, and Noah Achari. And then a fourth line of Lafferty, Kampf, and Zach Aston Reese. That's a bottom six that's going to be a problem to deal with. And then for defense, I'm going with Morgan Rielly and TJ Brody as your top pairing. Riley's been the guy. He is our headman. He's been through the teams like even though they were bad, I kind of liked them. Like when we had Nas and we had Phaneuf, and all of them. I love Morgan Rielly. So Riley's our guy. He's our top pairing guy with Brody. And then our second pairing of McCabe, Shen, which that's just an out-of-body experience. Seeing names on Leaf jerseys again, holy hell. And then a third pairing of Gio and Gus. I do, like... It's okay. You're going to go in a couple minutes. I'm going to finish this up very quickly. That was a Alaska cameo. An Alaska cameo happened. Okay, I got to hurry. And then a third pairing of Gio and Gus. I want to see a bit more from Gus only because we gave up Sandin for him, and I adore Sandin. I'm happy to see he's tearing it up with Washington, but I want to see a bit more from Gus going forward. Give up Sandman. And then our goalies, even though going into the season I was really hyped on Matt Murray, honestly, what Sammy has done for us, it's Sammy's net. If anything, it's Sammy's net at home and Murray's net during the away games. So the moment Murray starts losing an away game, that's when you put Sammy in. But yeah, Sammy is starting game one, to which we know they'll be starting at home because this tweet I have here from @LukeFoxJukebox, this is from March 26th, just the other day. The Leafs have a 98.5% chance of locking up home ice in their first round matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning, as per @moneypuck.com. So I think they're going to be starting Sammy on home ice come game one. That's got to happen. Let's go. So now the 3 stars of the past party blur timeline here. I'm giving the 3rd star to Luke Shen for just being the human eraser, and every time that I watch a game and I see Shen on the ice, he demolishes a motherfucker into next year, and it's been fun to see. So he's getting the 3rd star of the week. The 2nd star, I'm giving it to Johnny Toronto. For at least in the past 10 games, he has 4 goals, 9 assists. That's captain consistency right there. That's a fun alliteration. Alliterations are awesome. And the 1st star of the week, our first round selection from 2016, the guy that got me into the whole hockey superstition, Austin fucking Matthews. In the last 10 games, having 8 goals, 8 assists. The kid's heating up right when you want him to. So I'm giving the 1st star to Matthews. And now to quickly finish up the show here, for upcoming games and predictions. So it is Friday afternoon as I record this. The Leafs' next game is tomorrow, where they play Ottawa in Ottawa. And now for all of these predictions, it's going to be dubs, because this is the most optimistic Leafs podcast you're going to find out there. So whether they win or lose, all of these predictions are dubs with a little fun sprinkled in. And you know what? Let's say fuck it. the Leafs will win 5-2, and Matthews is going to get a hattie. It'll look like he gets 4, which will be nice to see again, but he's going to get a hattie against Ottawa in Ottawa tomorrow. And then on Sunday, they're at home playing Detroit. I'm going to say the Leafs run fucking Detroit out of the building. I want to see a lot of goals. Like, going into these last couple of games, I want to see as many goals as possible. Let's see. You know what? 8-2. I mean, the Leafs won 10-7 against Detroit like a year ago. So 8-2 against Detroit on Sunday. Marner with a 5-point night. Let's go. And then on Tuesday, they play Columbus at home. You know what? Because my boy is rotting in Ojai, fucking I want to see my boy play, but the Leafs, that's okay. It's okay. I'm going to finish up soon here, buddy. The Leafs will win 1-0. All right, I got to finish up here. The Leafs will win 1-0 with my boy starting in net for Columbus. I really want to see someone take him out of fucking Columbus, please. And then on Thursday, they're in Boston taking on the Bruins. And you know what? Just for old time's sake, the Leafs are going to win 4-1. And then that's the last game until next Saturday when they take on Montreal at home. Ooh. Maybe, you know what? For fun, if I'm not doing anything, maybe I might record during that episode. We shall see. I don't know. We'll see. If I don't record the Saturday, then I'll record the Sunday. I'm pumped to see that game now. Toronto, Montreal, Saturday night. That's a Saturday night special. Let's go. And I'm going to say the Leafs win 3-2. We'll see a close one in that one. And we'll see how wrong I am come the next episode whenever that gets recorded. I would usually do the standings, but like the Leafs have clinched. We know we're playing Tampa. There's a 98% chance we're playing Tampa Bay. Or no, on home ice against Tampa Bay. Blah. What was it? But for a future episode, just before the season ends, I gotta still re-listen to my predictions episode and be like, all right, here's where I had all the teams. The only 3 I can recall is I had the Leafs winning the Atlantic Division, which that got thrown right out the window. Fuck you, Boston. I had the Devils in 3rd in the Metro, and I had the Kings 3rd in their division, which I'm happy to see at least all 3 teams doing good. But yeah, if anything, the only bit of hockey history I have for today's episode is not stats, but birthdays. Now, Mr. Hockey was born today. Mr. Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, was born today, March 31st. But next to him was my other newfie bay, Michael Ryder, was born today. He's 43. Yes, he's played on terrible teams, Montreal and Boston, but he's also played on the Devils, which I'm just like, okay, you know what? It's not Montreal or Boston. But he's from Newfoundland. I have a soft spot for Newfie NHLers, so for today's hockey history, it's a birthday edition. Mikey R. And on that's going to do it for this episode. I've got to go let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Mikey D did. And until next time, you can follow my shenanigans of letting the dogs out on the socials. It's at MikeyD_392, where I'll be posting more pictures of my dog because I don't have enough photos of my dog. And you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Be-Leaf-ers Pod. And until next time, don't stop believing, even though whether they win or lose. If they win, the Leafs have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if they lose, they have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. If they win, they have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. So either way, just enjoy some hockey, guys. Peace.